Hey, welcome to a special edition of Beth's Kitchen. What's cooking is my classic chocolate chip cookies. Now, if you guys have known me for more than 5 minutes, you're gonna know that I am known. I'm not gonna say I'm the best, but I am known for making my chocolate chip cookies. It's a requested thing. It's been shared from country to country. This is like an international classic. I am known for making amazing chocolate chip cookies, and I'm just about to do it here today. I remember there's so many stories I could tell you about when I make chocolate chip cookies because I've done it so many times for so many different crowds of people that it just gets all lumped together. But one little specific thing I was thinking about today, because I can make these so fast, 2 sticks of butter, is that we were hanging out at my house. I was entertaining some guests when I lived in Hawaii a few years ago, and we were all going to go out for dinner. And before we did dinner, we had like 3 or 4 girls that had to shower, get ready, whatever. I was preparing for our next day doing a road trip to Hana, so I was gonna like go ahead and just get our cookies done, because that was one of the things I love to take in the car on the road trip. And so while everybody was getting ready, I just whipped up these chocolate chip cookies, and I was accused of using pre-made dough because it was so quick and easy. Like, nobody even realized how quick I was able to whip up these homemade chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna put these in the microwave for about 15, 20 seconds. So, that's what I'm talking about. We quit. We're making this happen. Only 1 measuring cup for this recipe. 1 cup measure. I'm going to do 3 even cups of flour, and I'm going to watch my butter because I don't want it to get too melty. I just want it to be soft but not too melty. I'm using this flat butter knife to make sure my ingredients are even. Okay, I'm going to pull out the butter. It's soft, but it's not liquidy. So here we are with the butter. Soft butter. You can see it still has a shape. It's not liquid. So there we are with that. We had 1 full cup of flour. And the other cool thing about having this 1 cup measure only, you're going to do 3 even cups of flour, and then we're going to do 1 full cup of brown sugar, the kind of gooey kind that sticks together. It's like you're building a sandcastle. And then the classic recipes call for white sugar, and that's fine. I like to use sugar cane, but that's not what I'm going to use, because one of my little secrets is instead of white sugar, I use sugar in the raw. And this makes all the difference because you get this little bite, a little crunch, and you still get the sweetness in there. So let's finish out the dry ingredients. So I'm going to use a 1 teaspoon. It's a 1 cup, 1 teaspoon recipe. I'm going to get a even 1 teaspoon of baking soda, no powder. If you want cakey, fluffy cookies, you can use baking powder, but I don't. I like mine chewy. I like them gooey. And so baking soda is what I use for my rising agent. And I'm gonna grab some salt. I try to go ahead and get all of my ingredients laid out in time, sea salt here. So that way, that's one thing I don't have to like bop around my kitchen grabbing all the stuff that I need. So I laid it out, but I did not lay out the salt. So here we get 1 teaspoon of sea salt. We have the baking soda, 3 cups of, I need my whisk, 3 cups of flour, and we're just gonna whisk all that together. And that's our dry ingredients. Now, to the 2 sticks of butter, I'm going to add the sugars that we talked about. I like to cream together my butter and my sugar before I start adding the eggs or the vanilla. So 1 nice, you can see this is kind of granulated. It's like very thick. It crunches. Did you hear that? I don't know if you heard it. Crunchy, big thick pieces of sugar in the raw. And when I lived on Maui, you could buy from the sugar fields. They produced a product with sugar in the raw. Since that has closed down, and I'm sad, but their product was amazing. And this particular brand of sugar in the raw, they used to get a lot of their products from Hawaii. I haven't read or tried to figure out where they get it now, but Anyhow, now this brown sugar, it's like I said, it's the gooey kind that you can pack down. They do have dark brown sugar and light brown sugar. It's, I think it's the level of molasses they put in there. Yeah, so this is the light brown sugar. The contents are sugar and molasses. So there you go. That's why it's all gooey and kind of chewy. I do the light brown sugar because I don't want to be judged for this, but I'm not a big molasses person. I really don't enjoy the flavor of molasses. And the light brown sugar just gives you that chewy, gooey, a little bit of a flavor of something. You're not sure what it is, but it's still wonderful and lovely. So we're doing light brown sugar, the sugar in the raw. So sugar in the raw tends, for me, to taste a little bit less sweet than over-processed sugar. And I could probably read and figure out why. I would just guess it's like not as refined, or maybe your tongue is not tasting as much of a thin thing. I mean, imagine if you had powdered sugar, like you get this instant like super, super sweet buzz. But this is a little bit more crunchy and put together, crystals. So you can see, I had a little girl that was helping me in the kitchen one day just talk about like how difficult it was to kind of put this butter and sugar together by hand. But I told her it was a really good way to let your aggression out. Just go ahead and get it in there and whip it. So that way people that be getting on your nerves can just work it all done. Oh yeah, get them out of there. Work out all your problems right here with the butter and the sugar. So we got this nice put together little smooth base. Whipping them, whipping them, whipping them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No sign of the butter alone. No sign of just sugar. We got this nice and creamed together. Now, love, like I said, I keep this little butter knife handy. Just gonna kind of wipe down my mixing spoon, get all that off. And then we're gonna start with the eggs. 2 eggs. This recipe is so easy, I'm telling you. 2 sticks of butter, 2 eggs, 3 cups of flour, even cups of brown sugar and either white sugar or sugar in the raw if you want to be like me. And then we're going to do 1 even teaspoon of vanilla extract. And it's not the fake vanilla extract, it's the real deal. Homemade. And even if you don't have a homemade, I won't judge you for not having homemade, because this is a treat. But don't get the imitation vanilla. That is not a forgivable thing. And that actually reminds me, I have to admit, you know, I haven't always been, I mean, everybody has a beginning. So you know, in the beginning, I didn't know any better. I didn't know better than not to use imitation vanilla. I just knew I was on a budget, and that stuff is like way, way, way cheaper. So I remember I learned my lesson. I brought a bottle of imitation vanilla to a friend's house to do a bake night. I mean, this is friends just hanging out, we cooking, we're doing our thing. And this lady, this woman of power, I just really love her, Mahea. If you ever watch this YouTube channel, you have to know I'm giving you a shout out, and I'm referencing probably 15 years ago, went to her house. She literally took my huge, I mean, you could buy a bottle of imitation vanilla this big for probably $1. Huge bottle of imitation vanilla, and dumped it down her sink. All the while shaking her head and telling me she would never let a friend use that kind of garbage in her house or even in their own house. Okay, that's not the biggest deal. The biggest deal was then she took that huge bottle and she filled it with the real stuff. Now that is valuable. I'm sorry, but if you go to find a bottle of real vanilla that's that huge, you're gonna be like investing 40 bucks. I mean, this stuff is not cheap if you get the real stuff. That lady, woman, wisdom flowing from her, filled up my imitation vanilla and, of course, ripped off the label and wrote with a Sharpie, real vanilla. And I kept that bottle and I worked through it, and my products have Just always been amazing ever since. So, recap on ingredients: 2 sticks of butter, 1 cup of sugar in the raw, 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon. You know, I said 1 teaspoon and I put 1 teaspoon. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of vanilla just because I like a little bit more flavor. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons because I can. We've talked about this before. I do what I want. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Then we're going to start incorporating our dry ingredients with our wet ingredients. So we had 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And that's it. This is our base. Now, this is the classic chocolate chip cookie, so that's what I'm putting, chocolate chips in this. But this could also be the base for any kind of cookie. You could make, I mean, don't get me wrong. You put raisins in here. You could put M&Ms in here. You can put whatever you want, whatever mix-in you want. Nuts is a very good base. Very, very good for your classic chocolate chip. Now, speaking of the chips, something else that's a little different that typically people do not do is that they don't always use milk chocolate chips, but that makes all the difference. But here's where I get stuck with milk chocolate. Milk chocolate is very creamy and delicious, almost to a fault, because you basically can just keep eating it forever and never feel like you have that satisfaction of your chocolate craving being gone. So that's another reason why I like dark chocolate. I feel like if I eat dark chocolate, I'm actually getting that craving fulfilled with not as much product. It's like I really get that cocoa buzz. It's just like knocks you right there in the tongue and then it's gone. So what are we to do then? Milk chocolate, dark chocolate? I have the solution. A little bit of both. So you get that really nice bite of dark chocolate, but then you also, all right, my hands are I just washed my hands before we started this, so I'm gonna finish this with love. I'm gonna finish incorporating my ingredients by hand. I'm just gonna squish the rest of this flour all together. This is a very thick dough, but you're gonna see how it makes this like amazing chewy gooey cookie when you're done. So put your love in there, wash your hands, scrub your nails, and work this like the dough that it is. Typically, if I'm doing this for show, I will use Ghirardelli dark chocolate and Ghirardelli milk chocolate chips. Today, I'm using these Belgian dark chocolate chunks. That's another secret. The chunkier the chocolate, the more delicious your product's gonna be, because, let me wash my hands, because it doesn't melt completely in the oven. So, you get this nice bite of chocolate when you do the chunks. So, the chunkier your chocolate, the more you're gonna have to bite into. Scissors, I'm looking for scissors. Okay, got the scissors. So like I said, I'm going to do half and half. Here's another little secret, and I don't do this every day. I do about half of this bag of chocolate chunks, and then half a bag of the milk chocolate. Now, if I'm getting real crazy and I want to do something real special, I will make my classic chocolate chip cookies with milk chocolate chips, but then I will melt dark chocolate on a double boiler, and I will dip them, brush them. So they're called bottoms up cookies. I make the cookies with milk chocolate chips inside, and then I will completely drench, or like even use like a little basting brush to paint melted dark chocolate on the back of my cookies. I'm telling you, it is so amazing. So, getting this all mixed in. Are you still checking this out? Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. So today I'm making these. We're having a Memorial Day gathering, and It's gonna be an outdoor movie under the stars night. And because I'm known for my chocolate chip cookies, that's what I'm gonna bring. So I'm bringing these, but I'm making them for another reason as well. Tomorrow, I'm gathering with a lifetime friend, someone I met in high school, for a graduation party. And their family, knowing me for all these years, knows I'm the cookie girl. So they have specifically requested oatmeal scotchies, which I will make next. But they said, go ahead and bring the chocolate chip too, because they might not want to share the oatmeal scotchies with just the general public. So there we go. I am not going to stay tuned to let you see. Well, I don't know. I was going to say I was going to cut this short and let you guys not see me put this on the pan, but you might need to see how big I'm making these cookies. So let's just do it. Get my cookies over here. Clean up my station a little bit. Because that's a big part too. How big do you make these cookies? So I make mine big. Especially if I'm painting the bottom of them. You need to have a cookie it's like this. Like you could split it and still be satisfied. So I'm going to go ahead and just grease my sheet. Use a little bit of butter to keep my sheet non-stick. Just grease it on up there. You could use parchment paper, which I have. Don't use Pam. I don't like that stuff. Don't be spraying your stuff with chemicals. It's not even worth it. Use some nice butter. By the way, most recipes tell you do not use, look at all this. This is a big old chunk of dough. Let's put it in the palm of my hand so you can kind of see. This is generous, okay? Boom. I've made them bigger. I've made them a little bit smaller. Boom. See that? Yes. These are generous. Getting 3 in a row sometimes is pushing it. They actually might end up touching and then they end up looking a little bit square if you have to cut them apart. These might be okay. One reason why these don't get all thin and crispy and spread out too much is because you put 3 cups of flour. That's a little bit more flour than a classic recipe. So your cookies stay a little bit more full-bodied. Okay, we're getting full-body cookies here. I cook them at 350 for about 12 minutes. I'm going to set the timer for 12 minutes and then I'll peek in on them, and if they still don't have like this very, very slight little brown, golden brown hue at the top of them, then I will let them keep cooking. So I'll reset the timer for like little 1 to 2 minute intervals just to make sure my cookies are getting golden brown on top. But I really don't like to overcook them. Like I almost rather take them out a little bit doughy, because after they cool, they'll get a little bit more solid, and then I still want to have that little gooiness when I bite into it. I don't want to crisp. I don't want to like hear a crunch. Like I'm not a Chips Ahoy type person. I'm more of a soft batch type person. But that takes all kinds. So some people that like that crispiness on their cookie, these are not for you. These are for me. These are chewy and delicious. So there we are. Boom. 12 on a pan. They go in the oven. Gonna set my timer for 12 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm gonna clean up because I am quick. Like to do things as I go. Boom. 12 minutes on the clock. And I'll send you guys a pic. 18 minutes and they're in the oven. So I'm the fastest cookie maker in the West. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe and like my channel because we have lots of fun recipes coming every day. Talk to you soon.